Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, he was asked by the companions, which of the people are the best? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he answered this question by saying, everyone who is sincere in speech and who is pure in heart. So the Sahaba, the companion, they asked him, they said, we know what sincere of speech is, but what is it to be pure of heart? And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he answered, he said, being pure of heart is the heart with no sin, injustice, rancor or envy. Donc les gars, la semaine passée, j'ai parlé sur l'importance du cœur. Right? Puis aujourd'hui, ça va être partie 2 dans la série de 3 sur le cœur. Et aujourd'hui, on va parler un peu plus des portes pour entrer dans le cœur. Donc pour terminer la Halaqa de la semaine passée, j'avais partagé une analogie qui a été donnée par Imam Ghazali et qui a été appris par Ibn Qayyim rahmatullahi alayh. Et cette analogie-là, c'est que le cœur, c'est comme un château, une forteresse. Et chaque château et chaque forteresse a des portes pour y rentrer. Chaque château et chaque forteresse a des portes pour rentrer. Et Shaitan, c'est notre ennemi. Donc Shaitan va vouloir utiliser ces portes-là pour rentrer dans nos cœurs. Pour rentrer dans nos cœurs et nous pousser vers le haram, nous distancer de Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala et nous pousser plus loin du halal. Donc la première porte de laquelle je veux parler aujourd'hui, c'est la porte de la colère. The first door that I'm going to share today to enter your heart, that Shaitan uses to enter your heart, is the door of anger. Donc je veux que tout le monde pense à leur vie pour 2 secondes. Arrêtez de penser à ce que vous pensez live, puis pensez à ce que vous avez déjà fait dans votre vie, soit passé, soit que vous faites déjà récent, il y a des années, qui a rapport avec la colère. Quelque chose que vous avez fait quand vous êtes fâché. Right? Est-ce que vous avez déjà dit quelque chose que vous regrettez à cause de la colère, que vous ne pouvez jamais reprendre? Est-ce que vous avez déjà frappé quelqu'un, blessé quelqu'un parce que vous êtes fâché, parce que vous êtes en colère? Est-ce que vous avez déjà fait quelque chose qui est pratiquement impardonnable? Pratiquement impardonnable à cause de la colère? Et la réponse, pour la grande majorité, je dirais même tous les gars ici, c'est qu'au moins une de ces questions-là, vous avez dit oui. Et c'est le cas pour 99% des garçons et des filles dans le monde. Parce que la colère, c'est une émotion que Shaitan utilise. La colère, c'est une émotion que Shaitan utilise pour nous pousser vers le haram. There's a narration, Allahu alam to its authenticity, I saw it in a book called Maqalid al-Shaitan, where it says that Shaitan plays with a man's anger the same way a man plays with a ball. So Shaitan plays with your anger the same way a man plays with a ball. So when you get angry, right? When you get angry at what somebody said, what somebody did, and you want to act out on it, you shouldn't get this tunnel vision, right? I'm not saying don't get angry. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did he get angry? Yes, he got angry. Yes, he got angry. But when he got angry, there was no hate in it, right? And when he got angry, his actions weren't taken over fully by that anger the way that we do it today. In our day now, when one of us gets angry, it's tunnel vision. You want to hurt that guy so bad that you don't even care what's going on around you, right? Tunnel vision, right? You're like, oh, my bad. Like, that's all I was thinking about. I didn't know this guy would get hurt. right? So when you get angry and when you act upon this anger, the effects of this anger aren't only on you or on the people that you directly touched with it, right? It's not only on you or the people you touched directly with it. The effects of this anger also affect your heart. Because often, what comes when we get angry is that we sin. Often, when we get angry, we sin. Guys will swear, guys will hurt someone else, right? You will end up swearing. And every time you swear, if you don't ask for forgiveness, a black dot appears on your heart, right? Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, he says, when someone offends me, I see it as a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He is teaching me humility. So in this quote, Ibn Taymiyyah, he gives us a solution to our anger. Il nous donne une solution à notre colère. And the solution to this anger is to be humble. It's to be humble, right? If somebody wrongs you, the best thing to do is put your head down and let your pride go. Let the fact that you don't want to be seen weak go. Just let it go, right? If somebody does this to you, do you really need to prove to him that you're a tough guy by swearing at him? Do you really need to prove to him that you're a tough guy by fighting him? None of us need to do that, right? There's bigger things in life than proving to this one guy that you're tough, or proving to this group of people that you're tough, right? There's bigger things in life. There's a hadith in Sahih Muslim which says that in the morning, Iblis, the big shaitan, sits on his throne and he commands the shayateen, the little shaitan, to go out. And at the end of the day, these shayateen, they come back and they tell Iblis what they did. So Iblis asked them, he said, what did you do today? So some shayateen will go and they will say, we did so and so. We did so and so. You know, I made this guy drink alcohol. I made this guy smoke. I made this guy swear. I made this guy skip his prayer. And Iblis will tell the shayateen, you have done nothing. T'as rien fait. And then one shayateen will come to Iblis and he will say, I did not leave so and so until I sowed the seeds of discord between husband and wife. Meaning I broke them apart. I did not leave so and so until I broke the relation of this husband and wife apart. Until I put the seeds of them breaking up, leaving each other. And Iblis, he turns to this shayateen, and he says, Anta, you are the one. You are the one. And one of the ways that Iblis will sow the seeds of discord between a husband and a wife, or between brothers and sisters, between siblings, between brothers, between friends, between acquaintances, between work colleagues, is through anger. Through anger over small things. So if we do not control our anger, and if we're not aware that shaitan is attacking us through our anger, then nothing good is going to come from it. And it's going to ruin some relationships that you had. One of the 40 hadith of Imam Nawawi is when a man came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he asked him, give me some advice. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, do not get angry. And the man he asked over and over again, give me advice. And every single time, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told him, do not get angry. Do not get angry. And he repeated this over and over and over again. So if anger is a way that the seeds of discord, that the seeds of separation are put between us, then we must protect ourselves from it. La deuxième porte de laquelle je voulais parler aujourd'hui, c'est la jalousie ou l'avidité. Jealousy and greed. Again, encore. Les gars, je veux que vous pensiez à vous-même. Right? Ou pensez au monde. Pensez au monde alentour de vous. Combien de fois est-ce qu'on a priorisé, est-ce qu'on a mis quelque chose par-dessus la religion qui va seulement nous aider dans cette dunya. Il y a plein de monde qui le font. Il y a plein de monde qui le font. Ils mettent la religion en bas du dunya. Et ça vient de l'avidité. It comes from greed. Parce que vous voulez l'argent. Vous voulez le fame. Vous voulez que le monde vous reconnaisse. Mais avant tout, devrait venir l'islam. Pensez à l'histoire de Adam alayhi salam. La façon que Shaitan l'a eu, c'était en installant de l'avidité dans son cœur. C'était en installant de l'avidité dans son cœur. Parce qu'il l'a fait en sorte que Adam alayhi salam, il voulait seulement l'affaire qu'il n'avait pas. Il voulait seulement l'affaire qu'il n'avait pas. Et c'est ça qu'on fait de nos jours aussi. On pourrait avoir des milliards et des milliards de dollars, mais c'est jamais assez. On pourrait avoir du fame et du fame et du fame, mais c'est jamais assez. On veut toujours plus. On veut toujours plus. Quand un musulman a de l'avidité dans son cœur, quand un musulman est greedy, when a Muslim is greedy, ça prend un effet sur son cœur aussi. Parce que cette émotion-là, c'est pas une belle émotion. C'est pas une belle émotion. C'est pas quelque chose qu'on veut avoir. Et ça nous distance de Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ça nous distance de Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Donc on devrait faire tout dans notre pouvoir pour éviter l'avidité. We should do everything in our power to avoid greed. Even if that means always subconsciously thinking, you know, I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not going to be greedy. I'm going to leave this because I don't want to be greedy. Even if it means that. The second part of this door was jealousy. And jealousy is often synonymous with greed, right? Because when you're jealous of someone, part of it is that you're greedy for what they want. Again, think about your own lives. You see a car. That's a nice car, man. I want that car. That's a nice car, man. I want that car. You see a guy doing good. Like, man, I wish I was doing that good. Not in a good way. No, you're looking at that guy, you're like, Allah barik. No, you're like, I want to be in his spot and I want him to be in my spot. That's jealousy. Right? You see a brother marrying the girl you want to marry. Right? You see a brother passing you in the sport that you showed him. You see a brother doing well and you have this jealousy in your heart which makes you want the worst for him. Jealousy, it rules the heart of the disbelievers, right? If you look in our world, if you look outside, if you look at the kafir, jealousy rules. Jealousy is everywhere. People will do crazy things to just bring them down to their own level, right? They'll do anything they can to bring them down. And what happens when you get jealous? When you get jealous, you become ungrateful, right? Because you're like, I have this, but this guy has more than me. And you want more. And you're not aware of the blessings that have already been done upon you. Because you're always looking at the people who have more than you. You're never looking at the people who have less than you. But this ungratefulness, it isn't just to, say, your parents, to your friends, whoever it may be. It isn't just to them. This ungratefulness, it often gets to a point where you become ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you become ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this can lead to anger with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine that. Imagine that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your creator, who gave you every single thing you have now. No matter how big, no matter how small. No matter how important, no matter how irrelevant, no matter how expensive, no matter how cheap. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you everything you have now. But this jealousy makes you believe that He has done nothing for you. And for some people, this has led to kufr over time. For some people, this has led to kufr over time. So it shows how dangerous jealousy and greed can be. And the solution to this one is simple, right? The solution to jealousy and greed is simple. Just think about what you have already. Think about what's been done upon you. the eyes you have that you can see with, the legs you have that you can walk with, the house you have, the country you're living in. Look at the people who have less than you. You'll realize how much we are blessed. Right? فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Which of the blessings of your Lord will you deny? So inshallah, let's all be grateful for everything we have. And this also goes back to a few weeks ago when I spoke about the categories of thought. And one of the 5 categories of higher thinking that I mentioned from Ibn Qayyim's book was reflecting on the blessings that have been done upon you. Reflecting on the blessings that have been done upon you. And this is a category of higher thought. Because when you reflect on these things, it's going to bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you reflect on what you already have, it's going to bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you think about what you don't have, when you think about what you want, all it's going to do is push you further away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is ultimately what shaitan wants, and which is ultimately not good for your heart. Et la troisième porte que Shaitan utilise pour entrer dans le cœur. La troisième porte que Shaitan utilise, puis celle-là, c'est quelque chose qui nous affecte toutes, à tous les jours. C'est la peur. La peur, fear. Shaitan uses fear to enter your hearts and to distance you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Et c'est comment qu'il fait ça? La façon que Shaitan nous rend peur et la façon que Shaitan affecte nos cœurs avec la peur, c'est en nous faisant peur de tout. It's when you become scared of everything. Parce que dans l'islam, on est supposé d'avoir peur de Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? On est supposé d'avoir peur de lui. On est supposé d'avoir peur de l'enfer. Right? On est supposé d'avoir peur des punitions de la tombe. Mais on n'est pas supposé d'avoir peur des alliés de Shaitan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dit, do not fear the allies of Shaitan, but fear me. Ayez pas peur des alliés de Shaitan, mais ayez peur de moi. Et c'est quand qu'on a peur des affaires de la dunya, plus qu'on a peur que Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, que nos actions commencent à le suivre. Et il y a plein de types de peur. Tout le monde en a un. Tout le monde en a plusieurs. On a toutes peur de quelque chose. Et c'est pas j'ai peur des araignées. C'est pas j'ai peur des serpents. Mais la peur d'être jugé. La peur de nos jours maintenant d'être cancelled. La peur de ne pas être accepté par les autres aux alentours de nous. Right? Fear of what others will think of you. Fear of getting cancelled. Fear of not being accepted. Quand vous avez plus peur de ce que Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a ordonné, quand vous avez plus peur de Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ces peurs-là ne vont pas vous affecter. Parce que si vous avez à prier, et oui, vous avez peur du jugement des autres, mais si vous avez plus peur de Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, vous allez pareil prier peu importe où vous êtes où. A few months ago, I was at a soccer game with a friend in Parc de Montréal. And at some point we left the stadium during the game and we went to go pray. And so we were looking for a spot in the corner, right? Because, everybody's scared of being judged. Everybody's scared. You don't want to pray in front of too many people. You don't want too many people to see you. Right? It's a fear that almost everybody has. Some people more extreme than others. Some people a lot less so. Some people will just walk up the highway, Allahu Akbar, start praying. Right? Others will want to find a quiet, secluded place to pray. And these fears, they're very real. So we're at this Impact game, and we had found a spot earlier, but somebody did something there, so we couldn't pray over there. So we had to find another spot. And I'm pretty sure we walked around for 5 minutes just to find a spot that was secluded. And I realize now how useless that was. I realize now how useless it was. When we could have just found the first spot, the first spot you see? First spot you see, just go pray there. Just go pray there. Si je fais toutes mes actions pour plaire aux autres, si je fais toutes mes actions pour ne pas être jugé, l'islam va être secondaire dans ma vie. Et l'islam ne doit jamais être secondaire dans ma vie. L'islam doit toujours être premier. Et la peur, c'est pas dans le cerveau. Parce que comme j'ai dit, quand le cerveau pense quelque chose, mais le cœur ne le sent pas, les actions ne vont pas suivre. Mais la peur, c'est dans le cœur. Fait qu'il faut combattre cette peur en se renseignant sur la religion. Parce que le plus qu'on sait de l'islam, le plus qu'on sait du jour du jugement, le plus qu'on sait de l'enfer, le plus qu'on va avoir peur. The more you know about Islam, the more you know about hellfire. Hellfire is a beast. Hellfire is a creature that has to be chained. I think it was 70, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was 70 angels who were holding back hellfire. The more you know, 70,000, not 70, 70,000. 70,000 rows and 70,000 angels on each row. 4.9 billion. Imagine that. 4.9 billion angels. We're what, 8 billion people on earth? 4.9 billion angels to chain hellfire. But if you don't know, you're not going to be afraid. So know, so learn. To trump this fear, pour combattre cette peur qu'on a des autres, it's not just being scared of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You could also trump this fear by having a love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that's greater than your fear, or by having both. If you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more than you fear the judgment of others, then your actions will follow. But this love has to be in your heart. This love has to be in your heart. It can't be in your mind, it can't be in your words. It has to be in your heart. Right? It has to be in here. There's many ways to do this, but the one I want to end off today is with dhikr. Dhikr, remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remembering Him at all times. That's saying subhanallah, right? Being grateful for what you have. Right? Whenever you start eating, bismillah. Always be aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you know He's always with you, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always on your side. If you seek out to Him, He will help you. If you seek out to Him, He will help you. Ibn Taymiyyah, he says, dhikr is to the heart as water is to a fish. Dhikr is to the heart as water is to a fish. See what happens to a fish when you take it out of water. When you take a fish out of water, it starts flapping like whatever, it starts shaking, it starts having a seizure kind of, right? So if you don't do remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then your heart is having a metaphoric seizure. Right? Your heart needs that remembrance to stay pure. Your heart needs that remembrance to stay pure. And your heart needs to know what to defend itself from. You need to know what to defend from. So the three things I mentioned today, right? Anger. Watch out for anger, because anger corrupts the heart. Watch out for jealousy, watch out for greed, because these two things corrupt the heart. Watch out for fear of dunya things. Watch out for fear of dunya things, and don't let these things become greater than your fear for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And once you work on these, your heart's going to be way more protected than it was before. Qu'Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala nous rend parmi ceux qui se rappellent de lui en tout temps, qu'Allah nous pardonne pour nos péchés inévitables et qu'il nous guide sur la siratak al-mustaqim. سبحانك ربك رب العزة أما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.